All right, what's going on, everybody? So today I had a question that was asked of me. A young man, he asked me for some advice, and so instead of doing a motivational piece or sending a scripture or something, I decided to send this video. Um, and one thing that I'm gonna make this short and sweet to the point, because one thing that I realized is that a lot of people said my last video was too long. It was 40 minutes. And one thing about it is that we have to realize that our minds have got accustomed to, scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. We want to see something quick and to the point. And the only time we're really engaging is when we're, being entertained when it comes to sports, movies, or TV shows or anything like that. That's when we can sit down for hours upon hours and binge watch TV. And so we have to really be careful. Even myself, like I'm pulling away. I told my wife today that I'm through with movies for a while. I'm through with video games. Like I'm really just trying to get in a point to where I can, because that stuff ends up influencing you. You realize that some of your problems are actually stemming from you, spending so much time on Facebook, spending so much time just in entertainment in general, because it actually has an influence on you, believe it or not. And some of that stuff will make us who we are, because our biggest influences when we're younger is things that are around us, our environment. And that's why it's so hard for people to what should I say, that live in low income areas to make it out, or do, some people say, do anything with their lives, or I should say, I'll just leave it at that, because it has a lot to do with their environment. Their environment is not producing, is not helping them, let me say, produce in a way that will deem a successful lifestyle in this country. But let me stay on topic. The question that was asked was, what did he say? This is not it. This is it. The young guy asked me about anxiety. He says that he overthinks a lot of what he does, and he has fear of failing, and it causes him to procrastinate. And that he read somewhere that people procrastinate to avoid feelings of disappointment. So I looked at it, meditated on it, and what it really is just fear. Is what it boils down to. And like I said, I'll make this sweet and short to the point. Because anxiety, that comes from fear, and it comes from not knowing. And that's what causes fear, is not knowing. And then also in America, we have to look at, the type of life that we have today. We have a lot of options. You can do this, you can do that. That's why you see so many kids change their majors in college. They go from, they just jump to majors. Nobody, I think it's like 60% of people change their majors in college. Because, I mean, being 18 years old, you really don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life. And what college does, school does in general, actually limits you. Because there are more occupations than there are majors. And people don't even know about, the occupations that are out there, or, jobs you can create for yourself. I mean, we have so much that we can do when it comes with, the technology today, with video streaming, what I'm doing here, with apps. There's a whole lot you can do with technology, and just all type of business that are out there. But like I say, the main point here is that it is fear that's causing that. And one thing that we need to look at is that, we were not given a spirit of fear. We were given a spirit of power, of a sound mind. And then this is scripture. And the fear was not something that Elohim God placed in us. So if it's not from him, that means, it's from darkness. It's from, it may seem normal with so much talk about anxiety today. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody needs to go to counseling. Everybody needs a therapist. Everybody needs, some form of help. Everybody needs to be on medication, apparently. But that's not the case. I mean, when people say it's just being talked about, in the Black community of mental issues. I mean, unless you're getting a word-based counseling, then everything, because if it's not word-based, then there's nothing to back it up. Because what backs up the word is the Father's power. When Yeshua Jesus, when he went and, he did all these miracles and signs and wonders, it wasn't because of, just him, because he said the same things that he did. He said we would do more. So everything that he did, it was backed by the Father's word, his power, because he even said, he was like, I come not to do my will, but I come to do the will of my Father. And so that's one thing we have to look at is you have to look at the Father's will. You have to look at his purpose, his plan for us in the earth. And so, if you're not a born again believer and you're trying to receive, the benefits of the word, it's not going to work. Because his words, the scripture says that even one who turns away his ear from hearing the word, his prayer is an abomination. So we first have to be born again. You have to be spirit filled in order to receive these benefits. Because the Father is not looking to bless somebody who's not in covenant with him. Abraham was in covenant with the Father. That was the old covenant. The new covenant now is through Yeshua Jesus, the Messiah. But then it was, through them performing acts of circumcision. And one thing about a covenant is that it's a binding contract. So, when you're in covenant with the Father, then you receive everything that's in that contract. So once you're in it, it's just that you going back and you looking at them and saying, oh, okay, I didn't know this was in there. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Really what scripture is, it's like, if you're looking at it, it's even more than a contract. It's really a constitution. It's our rights as citizens, because once you become born again, you become a citizen of heaven. And now you have these constitutional rights. Now, it says in Hebrews that because we are descendants of Abraham, we're already blessed. Many people are trying to shout down a blessing, ask for a blessing. They want to be blessed, crying out all the time, but nobody's exercising or practicing the word, the principles that have been set there for us. So if we learn to live a life that the Father has set, for us, there will be none of these hurts, pains, or what I'm speaking on now, fear. And fear really comes from a lack of knowledge of knowing your rights as a kingdom citizen. Because and this question really reminded me of myself, not too long ago, because it's like, I don't know what to do. There's a lot of pressure on me, it's, especially being a husband now, I'm a father. Like, I'm 26, I graduated college, like almost, and I'm like, it'll be 4 years in December I graduated college. So it wasn't a lot of time that I was out on my own. And so I had to kind of, people would say grow up fast. But what I really did was I matured through the word, and that's what's helped me a lot, overcome a lot of fear. Is because of this right here, a vision. The Father, when he first made man, he gave him a vision. If you read in Genesis, it was for Adam to tend and to keep. And that was Adam's vision. He gave him a helper. Mata Izaniga at Eve Hava, he gave her to him so that he could complete the vision. So what takes out a lot of the fear is me working the vision, because I know that everything that I need to have done is according to this vision. And so I know that the Father will give me what I need in order to complete it. He wouldn't put me on this earth and not have me complete the vision. You say, well, what is the vision for my life? How am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to, do this? Well, the first thing is, you've got to get to know the Father, because so many times we try to figure out things on our own, but allow him to reveal it to you and be patient. That's the biggest thing for me. I had to be patient and allow him to reveal things. And, we're in a microwave generation. We want wealth like that. We want, anything. We got to have it like that. I mean, we can see the goal for college 4 years. We trying to have it, high school 4 years. But some things take longer. And in there, you'll see that you're actually growing in the process. And who you becoming will actually fit the vision of who he's creating you to be. Or who he's created you to be, let me say that. So what actually takes away that fear is working in your vision. And along with that is trusting the Father that he will give you what you need in order to complete the vision. So a lot of it is trust. I've actually broken down the Hebrew word for trust, and I believe, if I remember correctly, it also means safe. So if you trust the Father, you're actually taking refuge in him, you're safe. Because if you trust in him, you understand that scripture says he's a strong tower. David talked about it all through Psalms, how he protected him from his enemies. And that's what it's really about, trusting the Father that he'll give you what you need in order to complete what he wants from you. So many times we're trying to figure out how to please our own selves, but what does the Father have for us? So simply put, there's a lot of things out here in the world. They'll tell you, anxiety is normal. It's because, You got so many things going on, but management is huge, right? Start writing things down. You know, if you have the biggest thing, once you get your vision, write it down. Habakkuk, however you pronounce it. I'm gonna get it right one day. It talks in chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, I believe. It talks about writing the vision down and making it plain up on tables. And once you write that goal down, you work on it. That's it. And you stick with it, you know. And that's one thing I've learned about being in business. I've been in business for over a year. And what I've learned is, you know, we started out really slow. But now things have started to pick up constantly, consistently. And it was just through being patient. Patience is huge. You know, being young, it's kind of hard to hear. But that'll take away a lot of that. That will help you complete the vision. You know, when you've already overcome the fear and you're trusting Elohim that He'll help you. You gotta, and like I was talking about the environment, this actually ties into it. The environment thing is surround yourself with people with stronger faith than you. Don't be around people who also have anxiety. Don't be around people who also trying to figure things out. Get around a mature, seasoned believer, one who will help counsel you, and that will be able to encourage you in these areas. And I hope that helps. If you have anything else that I've said, like I said, I'm trying to keep it short. If you have anything else that you would like to ask of me from this video, just let me know. And I hope y'all have a blessed night. Okay, I forgot to mention one point, and this really needs to be addressed. My pastor says it all the time. Procrastination. I forgot to mention this. Procrastination is a chief general from hell. If you, it is, because if you continue to procrastinate, you will never complete the vision that Elohim, God, put you on this earth to do. So you'll always be stuck in a state because you're always procrastinating. And before you, Job said, "My life is like a breath." Another scripture says that life is like the morning fog. It's here one moment, then it's gone. So procrastination will, ruin the life you could have had because you keep putting it off. You keep putting it off. That is literally hell. That is, you live in a void life. It's basically disobedience, because scripture says to know what you ought to do and not do it is a sin. So if you're not working on the vision that the Father is giving you, and you steadily putting it off, you're gonna end up being 40, 50 before you try to change your life. And you say, "Well, I still don't have a vision." Well, what you doing with your life then? And I don't say that to say that your life has no meaning. You have no meaning at all, because we all do. We all have a purpose. We all have a vision. So it's all for us to get serious about life and just start doing something. And that something shouldn't be, I know when people in the world and celebrities talk about living a dream and doing this and doing that, but that's not what, we should go to scripture and find out what the Father wants us to do with our life, and not what we dream of doing, because we know by our nature that we are children of wrath, that we are sinful by nature, and the things that we desire to do may not align with the vision He has for our lives. If we desire, I don't know, to be the world's greatest drug dealer, I don't think that's something He put us on this earth to do. Because He wouldn't want us to cause others harm, and that's what we have to be careful of, things that we choose to do in our lives, like how are they affecting other people. Like, example, me doing the business that I do, I don't do it because that was something I wanted to do. What I wanted to do with my life is totally different than what the Father has given me, but it's out of obedience that I do what the Father has given me, and I take what He's given me, and I'm serious about it, and I plan according to what He's given me. And I continue to learn. I listen to people when they tell me I have a mentor. I listen to him, and what he tells me to do, I go do exactly what he says, because I humble myself in order to get this done. And that's one of the things, like I was saying about procrastination, that it will do. It will destroy that. You'll never learn these life lessons. You'll always be stuck and be in the same point. So as long as we continue to procrastinate, we'll never become who we need to be.